Beautiful. And thank you for the children's story, Missy. Man, she got lost. Not your fault? One thing I usually lose is my car. Especially when I go to those big shopping centers. I park my car. Come on, do I have anyone that? Yes. And one day we went to the State Fair here in New York. And I parked my car. And we were so excited to get into it that we forgot where we parked our car. And time went by, and we were searching for our car. At the end of everything, we were hungry and cold. My kids would be like, from one trolley to another. Yes, but yeah, now I think I'm not, it's not going to happen again. Yeah, see, if something happened to me once, that is enough. Next time I will be doing things that you cannot imagine, not to go through the same thing again. So sometimes in life, we are going now to our talk this morning. Have you felt like God is giving you the silent treatment? That He's not talking to you. People approach me in more than one occasion and ask me, Pastor, I want you to pray for me. Sometimes when I pray, they say, I feel like my prayers don't go through the roof. Stay in the ceiling. I feel that God is not listening to me. There are different reasons when we go to the Bible that for some reasons you feel that God is not talking to his people anymore. When you go to the book of Judges, chapter 3, we find something sad. Verse 8 through 10. Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 810. And they buried him in the land of his inheritance at Timnath, in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. After that, verse 10, after that, a whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors. Another generation grew up who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel. The man who connected the people with God died. The elders of the people got older and died. And then a new generation came that was disconnected from God. With time, we can observe in our environment that people are with time far and far from religion and from God. It's not only that we don't know God because we haven't experienced it, but we refuse to know God. And sometimes when we have some knowledge of God, we don't even want to speak about that in public, or we don't want people to know that we have anything to do with religion. Becomes the subject of religion, and the faith becomes ridiculous. And then we have a whole generation that is going around without God. And then we are surprised when we hear about a lot of things and catastrophes and school shooting and things going on and violence. And then we say, why there is no God? Because if there were a God, if there was a God, he would be intervening. But we have separated ourselves from God. And sometimes we feel that God is not talking to us. And that it comes in layers, starts with individuals and societies and groups. And you find a well-spoken teacher or professor that he is intentional in taking the mind of the students away from God. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind when people speak about other theories of creation and other ideas. We need to know, our children need to know about everything, what's going on. And in our schools, when someone speaks about the theory of evolution, it's just a theory. The problem is when people try to bury God and then raise other theories with no base. Does that make sense? Knowing about things is not a problem. The problem is when we don't give a chance to God and to the Bible. In the schools, they will speak about everything or any other religion, but not about the God of the Bible. That is forbidden. You can speak about the Big Bang, the evolution. You speak about other religions, whatever it is, but don't bring the Bible. Because that is bad. Can you see what I'm trying to tell you this morning? And then when things come, we believe that God is not answering. Also, sometimes we don't hear the voice of God, and when we personally do something that gets ourselves far from God. The book of Isaiah chapter 59 says that our iniquity can make separation between us from God. It's like a gap. It's not like God doesn't want to talk to you. It's like for some reason you have something covering in your head that you cannot listen to the voice of God. It's not like he doesn't want to talk to me, but I got myself buried so deep in sin that I cannot listen to the voice of God. But those things can be kind of justifiable when we say God is not talking to me. But what then when you know that you are okay? You are a God-fearing Christian. You come to church because you believe in God. You try to be faithful. You pray. You read the Bible, but sometimes you struggle with things that go on for years and seems like he is giving you the silent treatment. Have you been there? Yeah. Let me put it in this way. You know that he is there. Because in other aspects of your life, he has answered you. It's like when someone sends me an email, and then I don't know the answer to that email at that point, or I don't know what to answer. Then that same person sends me another email, and I answer that one, but not the first one. The person knows that I'm around, that my internet service is not down. Because I answered that one, and another one, and another one, but not this one. Come on. Do you have witnesses? Is there someone here that feels like, I know God is there. Because when I prayed about this and that, he answered me. I know he has been with me. I can feel his presence, but anytime I bring this subject to the conversation, and that is the one I really want him to say something about, I feel like he's ignoring me. There is a beautiful story in the book of 2 Kings. I want you to go with me there. It's chapter 4. If someone can close that door, because I think for some reason it's a mother's room on the other side. I'm listening to everything that is going on over there. Thank you. Here is the story of this lady. The story starts in chapter 4, verse 8. But when I'm going to start reading after verse 14. But let me give you some background before I start reading. The prophet Elisha used to go down to the town of Shunem to do whatever work he was supposed to do. He will go down that road frequently, and that lady, a nice lady in the community, say that man of God comes through our town every day. He must be tired, thirsty, and hungry. So she called him with the intention of feeding him. And it became a habit for the man to go by that house to eat some food for free, out of the lady's kindness. One day, because some people go beyond when it comes to help someone and to be kind to people. She said to her husband, he comes every day, very frequently. What do you think if we build a room for him in our property? So when he comes, he can have a place to rest here and to sleep and to stay overnight if he wants to. And the husband said yes. So they built a room for Elisha, and he stayed there every time he went to town. And one day, he asked his servant a question. What can we do for her? What is that she doesn't have that we can give to her? And when she was called, it was her answer. I have everything I need. She was very rich. Her problem was not money. She was connected. She had what she needed. It's like there is nothing you can do for me. She went back to her home, but Elisha kept thinking about the situation and asked his servant, what can we do for her? I have noticed, he said, that she had no children, and her husband is very old. So, and let's start reading now from verse 14. Do you have your Bible open? Okay. What can be done for her? Elisha asked. And he said, she has no son, and her husband is old. Then Elisha said, call her. So he called her, and she stood in the doorway. About this time next year, Elisha said, you will hold a son in your arms. My Lord, she objected, please, man of God, don't mislead your servant. But the woman became pregnant. And the next year, about that same time, she gave birth to a son, just as Elisha had told her. The child grew, and one day he went out to his father, who was with the reapers. He said to his father, my head, my head. His father told a servant, carry him to his mother. After the servant had lifted him up and carried him to his mother, the boy sat on her lap until noon, and then he died. She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, then shut the door and went out. She called her husband and said, please send me one of the servants and a donkey so I can go to the man of God quickly and return. Why go to him today, he asked. It is not the right it is not the new moon of the Sabbath. That is all right, she said. She added, she saddled the donkey and said to her servant, lead on. Don't slow down for me unless I tell you. So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. And then when the man of God saw that she was coming to him, he asked, I can see that the Shunammite lady is coming. And she was speeding. But God hasn't told me what's going on. Now, let's see this story. She was not asking for a child. Was she asking for a child? At least not at that moment. She was not asking for that blessing. She was happy up to that moment. Maybe at some point in the past, she thought about being a mother. But then, for some reason, she gave up that idea. And now, she had a child. Just one son. And I can imagine, the only thing I can do is imagine the attachment of that mother to that son. Just one. And he starts with a headache. And the father, as usual, will say, take him to his mother. Because anytime we have a kid that we don't know what to do with it, we send him to mama. My question is, why would God give her a child and allow him to die too at the same time? Why could not God listen to her when she had the child on her lap and she was praying for him? Why did she have to go through all that struggle? Why? And sometimes we have the same questions in our lives. We feel that we talk, we cry, but there is no answer. There are things in our lives that we wish that could be different, but that they are not. And we ask God to talk to us. But seems like He's not willing to touch that subject. We're not speaking about a regular person, someone that is apart from God. This story is not talking about someone who has forgotten God. We're not speaking about that generation that doesn't know God or the work of God. She knew about God. And we're not all in, and also this is not either speaking about someone who made a big mistake and is thinking that because of her sin, God is not listening to her. It's someone that fears God, that respects God, that takes time to seek God, that God is important for her. It's someone like you. But he's still not responding. What do we do when he is not listening? We have a story in the Bible, in the book of Job, that can illustrate us a little bit about this drama between good and evil. The book of Job is the book that is before the book of Psalms. The Bible said that the man was faithful. He was a righteous man. He feared God. But one day, the devil asked God for permission to shake him. Oh, he did not know, Job did not know that a deal was being made about him. He only knew the pain, the rejection, the suffering, the long nights without sleep. He knew about those things, but not about everything that went on around their lives, not all the situations, what happened between the devil and God. In life, sometimes we go through situations like that. If you keep reading the story, you'll find that is a good story at the end. That the little boy is brought back to life. But not all the time. We have the same results. At the end, in the book of Job, we find Job in a conversation with God. And God asking Job questions, trying to make him understand the nature of God. This is hard for us to understand God because He is not human. We are so little, so limited. But still, we don't feel very good with the silent treatment. I don't know what's going on in your life. If you have been struggling with something that you don't know why, sometimes you know why, but sometimes you don't even know why. You say, Father, but it was not my fault. Anytime I analyze my life, my choices, my behavior, I know that this thing, this particular situation is not because I have done something. And you pray. But you don't hear Him. It's like he is ignoring you. Seems like he is ignoring you. But you know that he is listening to you. Because sometimes we are going to get the answer when we are still here on earth. And we are going to see everything and we are going to be thankful. God, thank you, because I know if I saw it before, I would not be ready to accept it, but thank you for showing me the reason now. And some of us are going to die without ever knowing the whys of some things. But it's good to know that even though he stays silent in some aspects of our lives, he also manifests himself to us in so many other aspects that we can see and we can know that he is around. And that gives us comfort. We know that he is here. We know that he listens. He answered this to me and that and that and that. I have felt his presence. Why he is not talking about this? I don't know. But I know that he is with me. Because in other areas of my life, I have seen him leading me, guiding me, comforting me. He never left me. He is here. The book of Hebrews chapter 11 speaks about a group of men that by faith they walked with God. And those individuals accepted God's promises. They followed God. And most of them died without seeing what was promised to them. But God was with them. They could see God in their journey. Even in your pain, you can see God. Even when you're sad, when you cannot see an exit, when it comes to a particular situation, you can see God. You can feel his hand. I know that our God is real. And even sometimes when we are faithful, we face situations that we don't expect. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. He loves you. He loves you. And you are going to see that he's great and that everything that he allows in your life is for a reason. He has a purpose. We are going to sing. And after we sing, I'm going to pray. And as usually, I'm going to make an appeal. I don't know if there is something in your life that you feel like God is not listening to you. But I want you to hang in there, to wait in the Lord. So he can take control of everything.
when sorrows like sea billows roll. Whatever my life thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. When no trial should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate, and has shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul.
I have learned that I don't have to know everything. I don't have to have every answer to every question I have. That sometimes there are things that even I know that I want to know. But one thing I can do is I can connect to my Lord, to God, and know that He is around, that He is with me, that He is in my heart, that He is with my family. I can call on Him every day and ask Him to come to me and to my life. Whether I'm happy or sad for some reason, I can call to Him. And sometimes I don't get the answers I expect. And sometimes I don't even get answers. But knowing that He is around gives me comfort. I want you to just to put your life in the hands of Jesus. Even if you don't know anything, if you don't have the answer you are expecting to have, I want you to put your life in the hands of Jesus. Would you like to do so this morning? And say, God, I want to put my life in your hands. Father, thank you for being here. We don't understand everything. But even when we think that you are giving us a silent treatment, We want to just wait in you. We just want to be quiet and wait in your presence. In your name we pray. Amen.